Are you a man looking for an intensive program to help you overcome sexually addictive behaviors? Gateway to Freedom is your answer. Gateway to Freedom is a 3-day workshop for men seeking to overcome any destructive sexual habits. Whether married, single, or divorced, Gateway to Freedom will help men regain hope for a new life of purity and real contentment. The workshop is conducted by experts in the field of sexual addiction recovery with decades of combined experience. Read testimonials of workshop alumni at gatewaymen.com. Get all the info and register online at gatewaymen.com or call 1-800-49-PURITY.
Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I'm the founder of the Gateway to Freedom Workshop. I want to personally invite you to be part of our next workshop coming up March 4th through the 6th in Colorado. So call us today at 1-800-497-8748 or visit gatewaymen.com.
Welcome to Pure Sex Radio, training men, educating women. Are you ready to get real and start living each day in purity? This dynamic program is designed to educate, encourage, and equip listeners with the tools necessary for living a life of sexual purity. Pure Sex Radio brings you the best in mobile talk radio. Listen to real-life struggles, learn how to overcome lust, pornography, and sex addiction, and get serious about purity. Your hosts for Pure Sex Radio are Jonathan Doherty and Stephen Cervantes. Jonathan is the director of Be Broken Ministries and founder of the Gateway to Freedom Workshop for Men. Stephen is the founder of the Hope Counseling Center. Visit us online at puresexradio.com. And now, please welcome Jonathan and Stephen on Pure Sex Radio.
Good day, radio listeners. Welcome to this week's edition of the Pure Sex Radio broadcast. We're glad to have you with us. My name is Jonathan. I'm here with Stephen. How you doing?
I am well, blessed, and actually grateful today. I'm adding gratitude to my list.
Nice. That's always a good one.
Thank you.
Well, folks, before we jump in, just want to make you aware, as we do periodically, that we are a listener-supported broadcast, and we're so grateful to those of you who've decided to partner with us by financially supporting this outreach. You know, just so you know, when you support this radio program, it's not just about getting the radio program on the air. You're actually supporting this radio program, which is a part of Be Broken Ministries, which has many different ministry areas that serve individuals and couples, even parents and teenagers, in understanding what it is to live a life of biblical sexuality, dealing with the issues of pornography, sexual addiction, all other kinds of sexual brokenness. So there are programs like our Gateway to Freedom Workshop. There's certainly the radio program. There's our Recovery Mentoring Program. There's Pure Community, which collaborates with many different leaders around the country who are developing great resources. So you're not just supporting a radio program. You're actually coming alongside and partnering with a much larger organization that is helping people around the country and even around the world who are dealing with sexual struggles. So if you'd like to come alongside and partner with us, simply go to puresexradio.com and click on the donate button. So Stephen, this is going to be a great program, I think, because we're basically going to be trying to answer this question of why is porn so fill in the blank?
Oh, that's a good way to say it, yes. So powerful, such a big deal, so influential, so sexual. Why is porn all that it is?
Mm-hmm. And why, in some ways, it's we might even say, why is it such a struggle? Why is it so tempting? Why is it, and these may seem on, just on the front end, they may seem like, well, these are ridiculous questions. We know that. And it may feel to some of our listeners like we're stating the obvious. But as Stephen and I were talking off air, what may seem obvious to us is not obvious to everybody. There are people out there that are absolutely drowning in pornography, and they are actually wondering, why does this control my life? Why is this thing, ripping my marriage apart? And so we're going to try to address some of those questions.
And we're looking at it from all different angles, and people are teaching us what it's doing to their life all the time. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be rampant, and it seems to be so energetic. And it's like, hey, let's just step back a minute and say, and let's just look at it almost with fresh eyes if we could. So I'll make a statement about what I've learned about porn, and you make a statement about it. And so my first statement is this. I think porn is a relationship. I think guys have a relationship with porn. Mm-hmm. They're not too good at other relationships maybe, but they have a relationship. They look forward to it. They plan on it. They get excited about it. It's not necessarily a person. It's an activity that's sort of tagged to people or images of people.
But it is, if I could jump in here, it is like an entity unto itself. And so I think you could label the porn as a personality.
Okay.
It's like, I'm going to connect with this environment. I'm going to connect with this, and a lot of times guys who are connected to porn, they have a particular location. They have a specific,
right.
medium. A lot of times it's maybe their phone or their computer at home. So there is even a context that is pretty familiar and regular to that. It's like if you were having a relationship with a real person.
I was just thinking that, man, you're talking about a friendship, aren't you?
Well, and I was going to say if you're having a relationship with a real person and you call a particular restaurant, well, that's our place.
Yeah,
guys have that with porn. They go, that's our place, the computer. When I'm sitting there, and
I was thinking, and I'm looking forward to, right? Mm-hmm. These guys look forward to it, and they plan when they're going to do it, and they look for opportunities, and right. I mean, it's a relationship, and so what difference does it make? It's a relationship. Why is that important? It's a relationship. What comes to your mind when I say this guy's having a relationship with porn?
It's a mistress. It's if you think of it as a relationship, mm-hmm. then let's actually put a person in place of pornography. Okay, so let's just make it synonymous. We're going to say poly is porn. Mm-hmm. So when you are going to porn, you're going to see poly.
You could make them interchangeable.
And so if you look at that in terms of why is that important, why does that matter, actually put a person there and see how it matters in your life.
Oh, no, it's different than a real person.
Right. See, that's where people go, right?
Oh, no, that's your point, right, is that I'm making this relationship. I don't even know I have a relationship. I mean, that's why I'm having this discussion. And the reason I'm saying that is because it takes time. Takes effort, takes you away from people. You have to go isolate yourself. You have to have a secret rendezvous.
There's a strategy, there's planning, there's preparation.
And so porn is a relationship.
And what I'm saying is if you actually did say, let's make that interchangeable, that there's actually, porn is a quote-unquote person, so many people would then jump and say, no, I just do this just for a little fun. It's just kind of some me time. And they have a complete disconnect to the reality that you're describing here, that it actually is a relationship. It's the same. Think of it this way. I think it's pretty well established in the alcohol recovery community that there is a type of relationship with the substance that you are taking, whether it's alcohol, drugs, and it's the same kind of thing. You are scheming for ways to go interact with that substance. Well, the same thing is going on with pornography. It is a type of relationship. And I think if we see it that way, it starts to change the dynamic of how we understand it.
Yes, and that's why we're having this discussion, because it's not a real relationship.
Right.
Well, although there's a lot of reality involved, it's a fantasy relationship, right?
Right.
Because as you call Polly's not alive, but the point is that this relationship with Polly, it mimics it looks very much like a real relationship would look.
And that's why I described it as a mistress, because if you're married, are you not doing the exact same things you would do if you were having an affair with a real person?
Sneaking, hiding, planning.
Lying.
Yeah, ritualizing. Yeah,
and so this is one of the things I like to point out to guys who I put this in air quotes, who are, just looking at porn, and they try to justify it by saying, "I'm not having an affair. Well, no, you are. You're having an affair with Polly.
Yeah.
It's a very real relationship. You're doing exactly the same things with pornography that you would be doing if you were having a real affair. You are hiding it. You are lying. You're scheming ways to find it when your wife is not around. You've got your place that you go to. It's all the very same dynamics of a mistress.
And the sad part is you're expending all that on fantasy, which means you're not expending it on real relationship.
Reality, yeah.
Yeah, right. So real life is suffering, real relationship, real people, real growth is suffering at the expense of developing that. What comes to your mind? Why porn?
To answer the question, why is porn so powerful, one of the things that I thought was there is certainly an appeal to just the pleasure aspect. Sexuality feels good. There's a lot of power in the truth that sex is fun. It feels good. And so I think that's one of the reasons that porn is so powerful is you combine that natural pleasure of sexuality with this sense that there is something behind a closed door that I need to know. That's kind of the lure of porn. You can look at a blank screen on a computer and porn will cry out to you and say, hey, there's places on this internet that you need to know about. It's that original appeal of Satan in the garden. Did God really say you're going to die?
Well, but, I'm having two conversations. One is the whole idea of pleasure, and the other is this need to know. And I'm sort of separating those two.
Well, I'm combining them together because I'm saying that's the appeal to our pleasure is saying there's something behind this door that you need to know that will really bring out the fullness of that pleasure in your sexuality. And if you go behind that door, you'll have experiences and pleasure like you can't have anywhere else. And so it's kind of the bait of the lie of appealing to that sense that all of us as sexual beings, we know that sexuality feels good. To be sexual is fun, it's pleasurable. And so to then say, on the other side of this door is something that you need to know and experience that pleasure in a way that you can't have anywhere else. It becomes very powerful. It becomes like a drug.
And it's interesting because I was thinking about Gary Smalley in one of his writings was talking about how we're sort of pleasure junkies, and do we have to be that way? Do we have to answer every call for pleasure? And if you're disciplined, the answer is no. No, you don't have to answer the calls. So one of the thoughts I had is that porn is a lot easier than a real relationship. Because if a wife's upset, you may have to spend an evening working through that.
You got to talk.
You got to talk. That's it. And listen and process. But porn it's so much easier just to go over there to escape and to make up a world that you totally create.
Yeah, you don't need to, there's no empathy necessary.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen. You don't have to adjust. You don't have to wait. All these things that are part of a normal relationship, a normal, healthy relationship, which require empathy. You need to listen. You need to talk. You need to wait. You need, all those kind of things. And porn is it's immediate. It's right now. You're in control. It's at your pace and whatever else, And so, yes, I do believe that it's interesting because the way you're framing it, you're saying porn is easier than a relationship. But just a minute ago, we were saying porn is a relationship. And so it's easier than a real relationship.
With a female, yes, thank you. That's right. That's what I was thinking.
Even that, I would say, is a little bit of a misnomer because I'm putting easier in air quotes. Okay, it's easier just because maybe it's fast.
And it's instant.
And it doesn't require any...
Guaranteed 100% results immediately. You're fully in control. Grab what you want, right?
Yeah. And to me, that's the false idea that we have in our minds in our culture today of what easier is. Fast, now, me.
Yes, that's true.
Now,
and that's what porn is.
Long term, that is not easier. Because if you flip it and you say, okay, a real relationship, not fast, not immediate, not about me, and yet long term, ultimately satisfying. And so we have to
That's
adjust
true.
our thinking, because it's like, okay, easier. Yeah, if you think of easier as quick, fast, me in control, it's about me. Yes, easier. But is it really easier? Because long term, a real relationship is the only one that can ultimately satisfy, even with all of its brokenness and imperfection.
Right,
and
but a
chaos
real
and-
relationship where you've created a sense of peace and joy and rest and all that, that's easier, but that's the end of a process, right? And so you're saying long-term, long vision, after you do the work, the reward is so great. You get a little instant reward here, but you don't get the big reward, the big good reward.
And that, I think, is why porn is so appealing, is because we're so conditioned to we want the reward now. We're not good with the sense of delayed gratification. That is not a value that we hold in our culture. And I think it's not a value that we hold just in our humanity, our brokenness. We do not hold the value that says, you know what, I'm going to discipline myself for the long-term reward. That is not a natural inclination that we have.
Right.
Our natural inclination is, I want fast food. I want it now. I want
Well,
everything
it's like
immediate.
I think of myself sometimes as a 2-year-old. I think most of us are 2-year-olds now. I don't want to wait now.
Exactly, yeah.
Just give it to me, mine, me, now. That's what you're talking about. And we have to sort of fight against that.
And that's why I think porn is so appealing, is because it does offer that. It actually does deliver that. It delivers the now. It just sucks at the later.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
so
That's it. You got one? You want me to go?
let's keep going. You got a better list than I do anyway.
Okay.
So
So I think there's a real acceptance in this fantasy relationship with porn. There is an acceptance. And we were talking earlier how lots of us have bad identity of ourselves, or we don't like who we are, or we've been told we're not good enough. But when you go to porn, all those people are there for your pleasure and approval. There's great acceptance in porn.
nobody will tell you you're fat, you're out of shape, you're unattractive. You don't get any of the perceived or immediate shame barbs thrown at you. They come afterwards, but not initially. On the front end of pornography, you are not shamed at all. Now, on the back end of pornography, once we've viewed and acted out or whatever else, then, of course, a lot of the shame barbs come and say, what kind of despicable person are you, and all that kind of stuff. But within the pornography itself, those are not the things that attack us.
And so in the moment, there's like a deep acceptance. You could almost rest in the fantasy that you're good enough and that you're really liked, and all this is about you. And you know what I mean? There's a false sense of rest because it's false, but still it's sort of...
It's that mistress idea again. I can go here and get something that's really satisfying and pleasurable and makes me feel worthy.
I think there's also like an entertainment part to porn. We are such an entertainment society. We want to turn something on. We want to be excited. We want to be aroused. If you notice, the killings are gorier now, right? We don't want to see what we used to see. We want to see something else, right? We want to see it bigger and louder. We don't want sex implied. We want to see it in front of us. Right? Movies are getting louder and bigger and bolder and grosser and uglier. And when you shoot somebody, you have to blow their head off and show them. You know what I mean?
And it also shows a sense of impatience in our entertainment. My son and I, we were just talking recently about, the Star Wars, the most recent Star Wars episode that came out last year, and he was saying, he said, it just doesn't make sense to me that this particular person. She finds out she's got the Force, and then all of a sudden she's able to just almost instantly, be able to know how to use it. Whereas in the very first Star Wars, they really developed Luke's character and him learning the Force.
Yes.
And I said, son, that's the difference between 40 years in terms of there was character development in stories, even on movies 40 years ago. Now it's fight scene, action, and forget about character development. That's too boring.
And when you say that, define that. Character development means...
Give us some backstory. Help us understand the roots of this individual and the process they're going through to learn this newfound power that they have. And you know what I mean? Instead of just, hey, in one scene you say, oh, you're so-and-so's, descendant. And then in the next scene it's like, oh, you're fighting with the lightsaber, and you know exactly how to make things move and inanimate objects.
You're a seasoned Jedi.
It's like, wait a second,
Oh, okay.
And I think that's some of the translation that you're talking about in the entertainment and pornography. We've even seen a digression over the years in pornography. Those who have studied the nuances of it have noticed that back in even the 50s through the 70s, pornography was about nudity of the whole person. Today, the person is broken up into body parts. Mm. And so we are becoming even more debased, if I can say it that way, even within the debaseness of our pornography. Is even the way we're consuming it is a much more animalistic way than was prior. So even in that regard of entertainment, quote unquote,
there's a change.
It's becoming even degrading in that.
Well, and I was sort of staying lighter, meaning I don't want to be bored.
Yeah, I can't have unaccounted
for
time.
Too quiet. I got to get something in front of me, put something in front of my hands, and when I put it in front of me, then I want it to stimulate me, and I want it to be exciting and edgy, and it's like, do we always have to be entertained? Mm-hmm. Really? Do we always have to? Can we just be calm, be still, be quiet, rest, enjoy nature, go slow? So we're going down this list of why porn is what it's so wow. And then you said it earlier, it's so reliable. It just always delivers. To be sexual, to enjoy sexual stimulation, it just always delivers. And so I'm just focusing on the reliability of it. It's not like every fourth or fifth time something happens. Anytime you go see porn, you get aroused. Mm-hmm. It's reliable. It's instant. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. So we're just talking about the aspects about what makes porn so powerful. I was talking about acceptance earlier, and I may have been clear, but I may be repeating myself, but the whole idea that I'm really enough, and not only enough, I'm a superstar in porn. This woman likes me, and that woman likes me. With porn, there are 10 beautiful women throwing themselves at me.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of the deception of that, and this is why I think porn is so deceiving, is it causes us to believe that we are something that we are not.
Wow, that's good.
For instance, I can be a total Casanova in my fantasy life, right?
Right.
I mean, there's not a woman that even could deny me in my fantasy world.
That's a good way to say it.
And so what porn does is it causes you to believe that lie, that you are undeniable. You are a person that could not be rejected. Well, guys, wake up, And part of what it does, too, is it causes us to not even know anymore how to engage in reality. On a broader topic than just pornography, I think in many ways some of the media devices we have nowadays are causing us to not to be able to know how to engage in reality. Some studies that they're doing of teenagers today is showing that there is a rapid decline in teenagers today being able to understand what facial recognitions or what facial expressions mean. And this is because there's so much time spent on devices that you may have video and you may have all this kind of stuff going on, but you're not actually looking somebody in the eyeballs and being able to understand what their face is saying. And I think pornography does the same thing. It lures us into this fantasy world that says you are a legend, you're undeniable, you are the king. And then you go into the real world and your wife says something to you that makes you feel less than kingly.
You're a loser. You can't even put gas in the car. You're such a loser. You ate the last of the bread and you don't buy it for your family.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
And rather than being able to know how to engage that in the real, you then say, I want to go be a king again, and I'm going to go back to pornography and back to my fantasy.
So I wrote it this way. Porn fills in all your shortcomings, right? In porn land, everything is perfect.
Yeah.
So you don't not have friends. They're all your friends over there, right? You don't have a sad, lonely life. No, you have a happy life over there. You don't have a wife that's displeased or not enough money or tired of your job. Everything that's missing, you find in porn land.
Now, I notice as we're going here, there might be people out there saying, this sounds pretty good. You know?
Well, guess what? A lot of people are addicted to it.
Right.
It must be good. You
And
know?
so I'm thinking of the guy out there that's saying, guys, you're making a great case for me going and looking at porn right now. What's so bad about it? And I mean, I think we're going to shift here in a little bit.
We better put some spin on the end of this. But look, this is an honest radio program. Are we supposed to say, no, bad, stop, quit, that's enough, it's not good? Nobody's listening to that. But can we be adults and step back at this topic and look at it and say, this is what the power of porn is? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
Well, I was going to say,
we don't want to oversell it as wonderful.
Well, here's the thing. I think we are giving a sense of reality to why this is so powerful, why there's such a pull, why it's so deceiving, because there's so many of these things that, and I hope what we're being able to establish here is we're really showing what porn looks like on the front end. Like, why is it so appealing? Why is it so powerful? And even within it in the moment, it has that power. But it does bite eventually.
Yes, and we're saying, look, these are the real things that you can get confused with. Because look at it, this is a relationship. You say you're doing a little bit of it. No, you're developing a relationship that's going to impact the rest of your life. Look at this stuff. And so one of the thoughts is that I have total control. It's completely my control. I become almost like a god in pornland. I can look at what I want. I can do more of this and less of that, and I can, I don't have to say no to me.
And the deception there is, I challenge guys with this all the time. For those who say it is under my control, it is totally under my control, and then when we go down the conversation of all that it's destroying in their lives, their marriage, their relationship with their kids, all those kind of things, I say, okay, it's under your control, right? So would you like to have a better relationship with your wife, better relationship with your kids? Would you like greater integrity in your life? And, of course, any guy with a reasonable sense would say yes. I say, okay, great, stop looking at pornography. Then you will discover who's actually in control. You're not in control. Every single man who's ever said to himself or to somebody else, I got it under control, you are not in control.
Okay, looks like you shift to the opposite. So I'm going to tell you the next one, and you tell me. Look, it's mine, okay? I absolutely control all of this. That house, I have payments on. That car, I have payments on. You understand stuff? This is mine. It's mine. Nobody else in this world of fantasy but me, and this is mine.
That's actually absolutely true. But you know what? Here's the lie that often creeps into that, is what you are clinging to as yours, that you think you can have as a little add-on to all the other aspects of your life, will eventually become all you are clinging on to. Because the cars will go away, the house will go away, the wife will go away, the kids will go away, and you will find yourself completely and utterly alone clinging to your pornography. So that's true. It's all yours. And it's eventually going to be all you have.
And the other reason porn is so powerful, it takes such a minimal investment. It's accessible. It's cheap. It doesn't cost much. It's easy. It's available. With such the smallest investment, I can open up a whole world. You tell me where else I can open up another whole world that can be mine, that I can have control of, that I can feel wonderful. It's such a small investment.
On the front end, it's such a small investment. But when you think about the cost, what it costs you on the back end. So yes, it seems very easy, right? I don't have to, hey, porn is free. I can look at it on my phone, on my computer. It's such a small investment. All I got to do is, carve out a little bit of time. And then over time, what you realize is it is stealing from your productivity at work. It's stealing from your intimacy with your wife. It's stealing from you just having friends and community. It's stealing from you being involved and really connected in your church. So it may seem like a minimal investment up front, but it's going to cost you everything in your life on the back end.
Well, we've tried to explore the power of porn, and we hope you've heard why it's so influential and the cost associated with using it.
And if you'd like help with breaking free from the power of porn, please contact us today, and we look forward to having you back here next week on the Pure Sex Radio broadcast.
Pure Sex Radio is paid for by Be Broken Ministries. Visit us online at puresexradio.com.